Alright, so I just watched the latest Scooby-Doo direct-to-video film, Scooby-Doo, The Sword and the Scoob. Now, if you've been watching my recent videos on the past few Scooby-Doo direct-to-video films, you'll know that I haven't been a fan of the recent ones. I really didn't like Scooby-Doo and the 13th Ghost. I fucking hated Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. And Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo was mostly boring, more than anything else, and the plot didn't make much sense. This one, I have very mixed feelings about, because on one hand, it is more interesting than a lot of the recent ones have been, and to be fair, it feels like it's trying to do something fresh, but then just falls back onto, oh, let's do the same old thing and fall back on status quo again. So it's all a bit of a mixed bag. So I will be talking about spoilers in this. I kind of have to, in order to say my feelings about this. But so yeah, spoiler talk starts in 3, 2, 1. So first of all, let's talk about this cover art. So this cover art is pretty false advertising, to be honest. So, the dragon in the background, for one, the dragon isn't actually green in the film. And two, the dragon doesn't show up until 55 minutes into this 53-minute film. And then the dragon is defeated, no joke, 2 minutes after it shows up. So, the real villain of this, it is a sorceress witch, who, to be honest, isn't really a threat. Like, there's literally scenes of her just standing around looking bored. Well, I say standing, floating around looking bored, which is a bit odd. So, yeah, if you don't know what the gimmick of this one is, if you haven't seen the trailers, so the gimmick is that Scooby-Doo and the gang get thrown back into the medieval times, and they have to try and, figure out a way on trying to get back home Back to the Future, and also not changing the past. Okay, so it's kind of like a bit of like Back to the Future kind of thing, sort of. Now, the problem is that I knew from the start, and this is a spoiler, but to be honest, if you've been watching the recent Scooby-Doo films, you know what's going to be coming. I was waiting for the point where, at the end, it's revealed that, it's actually, they didn't travel back in time, and none of the magical stuff and that was happening, none of that was real, and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, it happens in this one. I knew it was going to happen in this one, which, to be honest, is just disappointing, to be honest, because it just means the whole time when you're watching it, the fact that they've done it, that is the problem with these modern direct-to-Scooby-Doo films. They're far too predictable. They are far too predictable. For one, we know who the villain is going to turn out to be because, well, they make it incredibly obvious who it's going to be because, one, it can only be one of so many people, and two, this one doesn't really have a mystery either. This one doesn't actually have a mystery because it just doesn't. In fact, Velma just kind of solves the mystery on very, very vague evidence and just kind of just guesswork, to be honest. But it's claimed that it's research and evidence, but really it's just kind of mostly guesswork and just a bit of observation. There's not a massive point of, oh, this is a clue to the mystery. No, not really. One of the clues, no joke, one of the clues is a man's abs. Yeah, that's one of the clues. That's how Velma figures it out. Because, oh god, I was rolling my eyes when I just saw that. I was like, oh god, this is going to turn out to be... Because they have, at the start, a reference to He-Man, which I've never watched. But, and then it turns out guy who plays He-Man is actually pretending to be King of Camelot. Oh, God. The thing is, this does have some legitimately good ideas. Like, halfway through the film, it does start to get a bit interesting. Like, they enter this sort of abandoned castle layer thing, and the animation actually gets a bit better, and that actually, for once in such a long time, we actually get some scenes, in the dark that actually feel like they're in the dark. They haven't just tinted it. Because what they normally do in a lot of these in the modern films is that they'll just put a filter over it to make it look, a blue filter over the animation to look like it's dark. In this one, they actually did make it a bit darker, which, oh, thank God they actually, made the darkness look dark. The problem is the character models are still far, far, far too vibrant. Everything is a bit too vibrant, but still at least a bit better in that regards. It was a bit more of an interesting story, but to be honest, not a lot happens really in the plot. It's just kind of a bit of a plodder, and to be honest, the first 20 minutes is kind of a waste. I mean, we spend the first 10 minutes wrapping up a completely different mystery that happened off screen. Yeah, just the first 10 minutes is just wrapping up a completely different mystery that happened off screen. This is happening a lot with them. And I think the problem is the plots just cannot, don't fit a 75-minute running time. I think this could have fit maybe a 45-minute or, just a regular episode length, but 75 minutes, it's kind of struggling, so it just kind of has to just plod along a bit, to be honest, which is a bit shaming. We have a villain, the Black Knight, that the sorceress conjures up, that is again defeated in 2 minutes, which just seems kind of pointless as well. And also that some of the explanations don't make that much sense. So the explanation of it is, and this may sound familiar to some people, Shaggy has an ancient relative, an ancestor, who means that he is the rightful heir and blah blah blah, so he owns this land. And the mayor wants to stop Shaggy from claiming his rightful land, but Shaggy doesn't actually want the land. Shaggy being an heir to someone in the past who rightfully should own something, just like, it does sound a bit familiar. A lot of things in here seem familiar. In fact, they even make jokes about how familiar the plot seems, in the fact that I think Shaggy is the one who says, "Oh, I know I'm explaining things really badly, but he does even make a joke about how many of the crooks and the monsters that they've caught were actually just people wanting real estate." Yeah, there's a bit of a fourth wall joke there. There's also a bit where they show a couple of bits when they're supposedly traveling back in time, and they show little snippets of different Scooby-Doo episodes and series from over the years. So we've got there was one from a pup named Scooby-Doo, or one from Zombie Island, the original. And then there was a fair few from Mystery Incorporated, which again is in its own continuity and is separate from the main one. But again, this one seems to forget because they keep mentioning Crystal Cove again. So, but regardless, that's an argument for another day. This one did at least keep my attention a lot more. It wasn't as boring as Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo. It did take a while to get going, though. It did honestly take a while to get going. And this one also has the problem of dodgy English accents as well. Doesn't help it either. Now, I know to Americans may not know as this, but to a British person like me, yeah, just like when an English accent is off like this, is because most of the parts are just played by the regular cast. Yeah. Oh, and Velma is just as annoying as ever in this one, because we have the whole thing of the first half of this film, in fact, throughout the film, Velma, refusing to believe the evidence of her own eyes. And just generally being a bit of a bitch the whole time. And I don't think it helps. Velma's voice actor, come, just she just sounds really nasally and really annoying, and I'm sorry to her, but I wish she would be recast, because honestly, she makes every single line sound really just irritating the whole time. It just doesn't sound right, and it just seems that stupid. And also, one of the explanations on how the the wizardry in that was done was also stupid. Like, literally, there's a bit where Fred is supposedly frozen and can't move. However, Velma just says, "Oh, Fred is suggestive and will do whatever someone tells him to do, as long as they shout at him." And just, what? Really? Come on. At least think of a better explanation than that. If you were gonna go down this route of, oh, because we can't have anything that's supernatural or magical or whatever anymore, and that is the problem with modern Scooby-Doo. We can't have any of that anymore, so the plots are the thing that just come far too predictable when they try and do something like this. And it makes me feel, if this was put in this story feels like it could have really worked, but it's just being put in the wrong hands and being hampered back. I think if this was put in the hands of the people who did Zombie Island through to Cyber Chase, if it was done with that team, then I think this story could have worked, actually, to be honest. Or even the team who did the What's New era direct-to-video films. I think it could have worked a bit better here, but in this one, it's just like, it feels like it's trying to play it too safe. And they even do the thing of, because of it, oh, some of it was magic, or could it be magic? Because they have it revealed at the end, oh, Merlin was real in this. Yeah, Merlin shows up and there's a wizard and that, and oh, was Merlin real? Was he really a wizard? Wasn't he? And I am sick of them doing this, just like the cop out. They're just literally the cop out ending, because it's supposed to be, oh yeah, it'll keep the people who want the supernatural stuff, the monsters real stuff, will keep them happy if we just kind of hint at it and go, ooh, maybe, but really that's not our intention. Just pick one and stick to that. But there needs to be more of a variety here, because it's just the same thing over and over again. It is literally, this one, it felt like they were, the writers and that were trying, at least for this one, to try and do something different. To try and, break out of that, let's just do the same old safe Scooby-Doo direct-to-video film again, maybe try and get there, but they just couldn't quite, because either Warner Bros. Or just they didn't have the guts to just go full out with this, and unfortunately because of that, it just holds it back. It does just hold it back so much. Which is which is really a shame. So, I didn't hate this one. Because at least the explanation, there might have been a couple of loose holes in there, but the explanation wasn't ludicrous. It wasn't a ludicrous explanation that didn't make sense. At least the explanation, for the most part, was at least realistic. Whereas in Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, the explanation didn't make sense, and nothing in that film makes sense because it kept contradicting itself. At least in this one, it was cohesive throughout it. So, would I still recommend this one? If you... Okay, I'll recommend it if you know what to expect with this one, like I did, then I think if you're expecting something new and different, you get a little bit of that, maybe. But that's, overall it. I would, if you haven't been a fan of the previous few Scooby-Doo direct-to-video films, this is not going to change your mind on them. this is not going to change your mind on them. I really think, these really do need a revamp again. I really think they do need a revamp. They did it in 2010 when they released Camp Scare and what was the other one? The one at the Magic School. But they did a revamp and they did the art style that they've kept to this day. I think they need to do another revamp of it again, to shake things up and do something different, because at this point we've kind of had, at least 3 to 3 years of the same thing. So I think they really do need to revamp it up a bit. If you want to do a crazy, stupid, nonsensical thing, then go all out with it. If you want to do a story where Scooby-Doo and the gang just travel back in time to the medieval years, then just own it. Just go full forth. But it just feels like it's being held back by so many things. If you want to do a conventional mystery, then fine. Just go all out with it. Because all of this just feels like it's really holding it back, and it's just trying to claw itself out of this. I will say, this is definitely a step in the right direction. Hopefully, the next one will be better. Hopefully. But, yeah, there we go. So, overall, this one, it's better than Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo. I still wouldn't call it good. I would just call it fine. It's perfectly fine. It's, at least it's somewhat entertaining to me for 75 minutes. It didn't actually bore me like Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, so I'd rather watch this one than that one. So this one, yeah, it's perfectly fine, perfectly enjoyable enough. But, again, it just doesn't have that kick that it really needs. It doesn't have that thing that makes it, more special, to be honest. So, yeah, that's it for this thoughts on watching. I know I rambled on a bit and didn't explain things properly, but anyway, that's it for this, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.